practice that. All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to AI World New York. Super excited to be here. Have a ton of content. So let's dive in. Let's start with where this all begins. Oracle. Today you heard all the executives on stage. Oracle truly has transformed into an AI company. It's pretty impressive, and even being inside the company, it's incredible to see all the innovation that is truly happening from our infrastructure team running all of the training and running all the large language models, from our technology layer, and you heard Juan earlier today, but throughout our technology layer, embedded AI throughout, and then at our applications tier, both industry and Fusion applications. We talked about running over 600 or having available over 600 AI agents at last count, at last AI World in October. So the innovation has been incredible. But I'm here to talk about Fusion applications and what we're doing in AI. And I'll start with just how we've progressed, which has been just incredible pace of innovation over the last couple years. We now have we stopped counting. We have a 400 plus AI agents that customers are deploying. We have over 7,000 customers that have deployed our generative AI services or AI agents in production today. It's pretty incredible. We introduced AI Agent Studio, which seems like a lifetime ago. In the age of AI, it is, but it was just the middle of last year, which is our development environment to build AI agents or extend the seeded agents that we deliver. We introduced workflow agents, AI automations, just in October of last year, and had a tremendous amount of uptake. These are predetermined, step-by-step, more deterministic AI automations that can now be built, that are truly enterprise-ready and all the great things that you would expect. We introduced an AI marketplace. So our partners, our system integrator partners, have been having hackathons on their own and building agents, and we've been certifying them. We have like a 21-point inspection process, and then actually seeding them directly in Fusion applications. So when you go into AI Studio, you get all of the Fusion seeded agents, you get all of the marketplace seeded agents. You can extend those or build your own from scratch. So tremendous amount of innovation in a short period of time, but we're here to talk about what comes next. And we truly are executing in just an incredible pace. I'm even amazed, my own engineering team, how quickly they're innovating and delivering. What we're going to talk about today is how Fusion Applications truly has reinvented how work works. And we're going to go into details. I'm going to show you some really cool demos. But let me start with where we've been from an industry. 30 years ago, I've been in the software industry for a while. We've been building enterprise systems, enterprise applications, and they've done their job. They've done a great job of recording what happened, keeping it safe, keeping it secure, helping us see insights. But anytime we needed expertise, we needed to do analysis, we needed some understanding, context of a business process, that was 100% put on the operator of the system or done outside the system, and the operator would go back in and update the system of record. And that's how we've lived for the last 30 years. And it wasn't that we didn't want to do better, it wasn't ideal, but it was all we could do with the technology that we had available. And so now comes AI, and truly AI does change everything. And now we have the ability to build agents as the core unit of work, unit of value, and extend those agents with process understanding, context of the process, with expertise built in. We can build teams of agents as an agentic pattern where they can collaborate and work together and not just tell you what you need to do or tell you what you should do next, but actually execute work on your behalf and move work forward 24/7. So we're entered into a whole new age, and that's why we're introducing today a completely new type of application, an agentic application. And so we're introducing Fusion Agentic Applications. And this, when we started building Fusion Agentic Applications, we started back from first principles. We started to think about what should an application actually do? What value should it provide? And what we realized was it should provide the exact same value and the exact same service we do within the enterprise. It should deliver an objective. It should solve a problem. It should achieve a goal. All of those things that we want to do. So when we started to design agentic applications, it was outcome-based or goal-based from the outset. So close the books and meet all the statutory requirements. Reduce supplier spend and lower supplier risk. It was hire the best candidate. It was improve margins. So we started to think about how we could build a new class of application and what that application should do. And with AI, we could build these types of systems that could make decisions, that could reason, that could coordinate work, that could follow up, and that could move work forward and actually execute work with us or on behalf of us. So we built a whole new system called Fusion Agentic Applications, and we're going to talk about what those look like and how those behave right now. So first, this is a complete architectural break. We didn't just only put co-pilots and assistants on the side of our applications. We built a whole new layer for agentic applications with truly AI at the center. And if you think about agentic applications, or you think about how you solve a problem or how you deliver on a goal or an objective at work, you do that by assembling a team of humans. Each one has a skill, they work together, they collaborate, and they produce an outcome, and they communicate to their boss and make sure that they're moving work forward. But that's how we do things in the real world, in our organizations. We built an agentic system to mimic that, to do the exact same thing, except for once we define an outcome, we bring together teams of agents. Each has a specialty, each has a skill. They collaborate together, they have memory, they share context, they can move work forward, and they can execute work with us or on behalf of us. And that's, at a macro level, what an agentic application is. So it has kind of 4 components to it. It's objective-based, teams of agents, a new agentic pattern. They work together. They decide on what is the best next action to take based on the outcome or the objective that has been defined. They continuously move work forward. They're adaptive. So whatever is happening in the system right now, they're adaptive to that. But most important, they're governed, they're secure, and they're auditable. And you can't run an agentic system unless you meet all of those requirements. So a completely new class of application that we're delivering. Now, before I show you a demonstration, because these are really cool, I'm going to quickly describe to you the anatomy of an agentic application. It's a very lightweight experience. It's designed to bring you exactly what next action you need to take. It's the signal through the noise. So if you look at number 2, the summary area, that's where all the magic happens. That's where all of the specialist agents are there. They've done work for you. They've brought the next action that you need to take. They surface it. And on the right, where you see number 3, that's where the priority actions are. So agentic applications tee up the exact next step you need to take, the exact next action that you want to take. And if you have a human that's fully in the loop, meaning I'm the sole operator of this, I might be managing 10, 15 different agents, but I'm hitting the approve or reject button on every action or every next action that has been brought to the forefront based on those agents collaborating. If I want to turn up the autonomy, some of the priority actions or some of the secondary actions can be done autonomously. So you have the ability to dial up or dial down the level of autonomy you want these agentic applications to deliver on. Completely new in the industry. Nobody's talking about this. We're actually executing work with you and on behalf of you. And let me show you what that looks like. Let's go to the Sales Commander demonstration now.
Meet your Sales Command Center, a Fusion Agentic application powered by specialized AI agents. Eric is a sales lead who gets a summary and updates across renewals, customer insights, expansion, and new business opportunities. Behind the scenes, specialized agents share context across customer signals and sales plays to identify the next best action to keep deals moving forward. The system alerts Eric to a critical issue with Bank Corporation, a major renewal opportunity. Agents have detected significant pricing objections and recommend revising the quote. Eric agrees and clicks Create Revised Quote. Agents run pricing simulations and propose a larger discount offset by a longer contract duration to preserve profit margin. Eric compares revisions across total contract value, total contract discount, and net profit margin. Next, he asks how discounts have affected similar deals. Agents analyze patterns across past opportunities and identify a positive correlation between discount change, sentiment change, and deal outcomes. Eric is satisfied with this explanation and selects Proceed with Revised Quote. The system continues to work towards closing the deal. Eric clicks Proposal Summary. The system compiles a presentation addressing pricing and other concerns. Eric can edit the content, generate a presentation with correct formatting, and download the file. Next, Eric clicks Renewal Pricing Meeting Request. The email agent uses Bank Corporation's history, the updated quote, and signals from similar clients to generate a follow-up email. It requests a meeting with key contacts to review pricing and other items they've requested. Eric reviews the message and sends. The system will continue to monitor Bank Corporation's renewal progress. As Eric returns to the command center, he sees that the system has identified the next high-priority action for his review. These are just some of the ways that the Sales Command Center helps accelerate the sales cycle. Specialist agents continuously reason over sales conditions and share context, while the seller focuses on reviewing and confirming actions instead of assembling and analyzing data.
Huge progress. Just think about the level of automation that we can get to. So every one of those steps, we had a human in the middle. Human made the decision to revise the quote within margins. We had a pricing specialist agent that was looking at it. Once they approved the change in price, they moved it forward to the next step, created a PowerPoint or a PDF, then they emailed the prospect. All of that can be automated. I could just review the final pricing quote and the email before it goes out to the prospect. So you can dial up or dial down whatever level of automation that you want to provide. So you can start to begin to think about how you can truly automate work in a new agentic world. I'm going to briefly talk about the next slide. Hopefully it's up on the screen. Okay, there we go. I'm going to talk, this is a architecture. I'm going to go just quickly. This is an architectural break. The way we delivered agentic applications is a whole new architecture centered around objective-based workspaces where teams of agents collaborate and work together around a specific business problem. The business problem that we've chosen, and I'm going to talk about the 22 agentic applications that we've delivered, is usually a broad surface area of Fusion applications, which is too difficult, too broad of a spectrum of understanding for a single person to cognitively reason over. So that's why a lot of the early agentic applications have a broad footprint, and you'll see some of that. We also will introduce an agentic application builder. So not only are we delivering you, I always say you, what does it say? They always say you give a person a fish and they eat for a day, and you teach them how to fish and they can eat for a lifetime, something like that. Well, we're giving you 22 fish and we're giving you the fishing pole to build or extend these agentic applications. And so huge steps forward, but key is it sits and it's an extension of the system of record. So all of the security, all of the policies, all of the approvals, all of the permissions are baked in, so you don't have to worry about data access or data exposure. All of these agentic applications are a natural extension of what's been built in the system of record. Okay, these are the 22 agentic applications that we're delivering. They are fundamentally different in 4 ways. The first way that we've talked about, they're objective-based. Obviously, you define an objective that you want to achieve. They cover a broad span, a surface area of an application area. They reason and they have a understanding of the process. They have expertise built in. They bring you the signal through the noise. What is the next next best priority action you should take. They reason over trade-offs and do the work and present you with the next action that you can decide to take or not take or autonomously let happen. So a huge difference than what every other vendor is focused on. This is completely different. And then we execute work. We create the new price and update it, the quote. We generate the presentation. We move it forward and we create an email. All of this is work that happens, is auditable in the transactional system. I'll give you a few other simple examples, but we got a lot to cover. This is a supply chain example, design to source workspace. So if you think about the 4 key things first, we reason over a large surface area. So we go from product design to bill of materials to sourcing events, all the way to supplier data. So we're looking at a broad set of information. I'm starting with CAD designs, and I want to source those, create sourcing events, create RFQs. This is an end-to-end process with a lot of handoffs, a lot of people getting involved, and I can give it an objective. I want to lower cycle times, and I want to reduce costs, and I want to reduce or lower supplier risk. That's the objective. I assemble a team of agents, and then I start to allow them to execute work. They can create RFQs from CAD designs. They can create sourcing events. They can award winners. This is how you move work forward. This is how we change the way work works in an organization. We provide you the ability to manage these large processes with less worry about, do I have all the context to make all of these decisions? We've built them into the system. I'll give you another example. This is a great one. It's horizontal, but it can also be vertical. So just think about a nurse in their hospital, and they have 100 nurses that are reporting to them. And every single week, sometimes multiple times a week, they need to look and make sure they have the right coverage for their schedules. They need to make sure that they meet all the policy requirements, regulatory requirements, and they need to make sure there's no delays in scheduling so we can, go to surgeries and we can make sure that we have the right nurse at the right bed at the right time. Heavy cognitive load, large surface area for the head nurse to cover with a lot of responsibility. Perfect example of an agentic application. Now the head nurse can come in, identify all of the absences that they can approve that don't have a schedule impact. Maybe there's some shift drops that if they accept, it's going to have an impact on the schedule. They can reject those. They can follow up on, maybe there's 50 time cards that are going to impact payroll where people have filled the time card out incorrectly. Maybe they forgot to clock in or they didn't take a lunch. Whatever the policy breach that they have, you don't have to go through those one by one. An agent that specializes in that part of the process will tell you, these are the violations, here's the policy, here's a link to the policy, and we'll tee up in the communication area the 50 emails that need to go out that can automatically be sent so you can make sure those people get paid on time, and it reduces the work and the cognitive load on the head nurse so they can get back to doing what they do best, which is taking care of patients. So huge value in this type of solution that we can now deliver. And again, it's not just teeing up a bunch of questions and advice. I get that at home. This is actually executing work on your behalf. So this is what we mean when we say we're reinventing how work works. We're focused on moving from systems that record what happened, passive systems, to systems that truly deliver outcomes. We're reinventing how humans and systems work together. The system can now handle more capacity, more scale, more execution, more context, but the human still has all of the oversight, still has the understanding, makes the ethical trade-offs, moves the decision along, and has the ability to turn up, dial up, or dial down the level of autonomy that you want to have in these agentic applications. So huge step forward. And what this means is we're able to redefine how we execute work. In some areas, we may need to scale capacity up for periods of time and scale it back down. We now have the ability to build and program that into our systems, which we've never had the ability to do in the past. So huge productivity savings and huge productivity gains where you can scale the business. without linearly scaling headcount. So you can move work forward continuously in this new paradigm. So huge steps forward. That was a huge announcement, 22 agentic applications. But AI Agent Studio as our development environment where you can build, test, deploy, publish, all of the things that you want to do from an agent perspective, where we have all the seeded agents, but it's an agent builder. We're also introducing a ton of new capabilities. We're going to talk about the Agentic Application Builder. Remember, 22 are the fish. We have the pole, which is the building or extending agentic applications. We're going to talk about, I'm just going to highlight a few of the brand new things that we've delivered. This platform is moving so quickly. Content intelligence. Content intelligence is a huge step forward from an unstructured data perspective. So if you have unstructured content in a SharePoint drive or in Box, or you want to crawl over certain websites and scrape them and bring that information into an agentic application or agent to provide better context, content intelligence allows you to do that at scale. Huge, huge step forward. And we go beyond just semantic search. So for all the AI specialists out there, look, we take those documents, we can parse them, stick them in our vector store, and reason over them. But we can now include hybrid search. So that allows us to do textual search. That gives us a lot better context. So now if you have a contract and you want to look at all contracts before a certain date or after a certain date, or you want to look at contracts where limited liability is over $1 million or under $1 million, you can provide additional context on top of your unstructured data to provide better information to the agents so they can make better decisions and solve more problems for you within the organization. So huge, huge step forward. Tons of other functionality. I got a few other things to hit, so I'll we'll cover them in the next slide, but just a ton of new capabilities. AI Agent Studio is moving incredibly fast. I always say this is just such a great opportunity for us to truly change how our businesses work and how much value our applications can deliver. Okay, this is the fun part. Okay, so Agentic App Builder is the fishing pole. Everybody will hate that analogy, but this is where you build agentic applications. So you can define an objective. From natural language, you can define an objective that you want to achieve. You can give it some details about what you want to build. And then what the application builder will do, it will go look into AI Agent Studio, and it will look at all the specialist agents that we have available. So it'll look at all of the seeded agents that we deliver, all the 400 of them. It'll look at all the marketplace agents, all the specialists that we have there. It'll look at any agents that you've built. And it's like Avengers. It'll assemble the team together around that particular problem and build the agentic application for you via natural language. Now, it does better than that. So how many, I can hardly see you, but how many are familiar with no-code application builder tools like Base 44 or Lovable, those types of applications? All of you, great. So those applications allow you to build traditional applications in a similar way. You can go in and you can describe, I want to build a tax application, and this is what I want it to look like, and I want it to do these things, and it will generate the code and build a traditional application. Agentic App Builder is similar, except when you build a Base 44 or Lovable or any one of those other applications, a human still needs to operate it. When you build an agentic application via Agentic Application Builder, these are teams of specialists, and you're composing outcomes, not just building a traditional application that somebody has to run. So let's see this in action. Let's go to the Application Builder demonstration.
The Fusion Agentic App Builder offers a new way of creating enterprise applications. You start by describing your objectives. Let's say you want to create a workspace to help executives track major initiatives. The Exec Command Center looks like a good example to get started. It surfaces key risks, opportunities related to workforce readiness, sales pipeline, and capacity planning and operational readiness. You tell the Agentic App Builder to add robotics automation expansion plans, an important area of focus for your leadership team. The App Builder interprets your intent, reviews the library of existing agents in AI Agent Studio, and identifies the most suitable agents to meet your objective. You add the recommended agents to the team. You decide to update the application name, change to a 2-column layout, and rearrange the order of the summary area so that operations appears first. Moving on, you ask the advisor about adding finance expertise. The App Builder shows you different options and explains that the agent requires configuration. Behind the scenes, you complete the configuration in AI Agent Studio and add the finance planning agent to a new section. When you preview the app, you see that it's functioning as expected. Powered by a coordinated team of specialized agents, the Executive Command Center provides a top-level summary of the most relevant updates. What's changed and why it matters guides you to the next best action as agents continuously monitor information and recommend next steps to keep work moving forward, and generates communication to keep stakeholders informed. You click Publish, and that's it. App Builder puts secure enterprise-grade agentic app creation in your hands.
Now, how crazy is that? And what I say is, what you just saw is probably the hardest it will ever be to build an agentic application. Every day that we go forward, the technology, the large language models get better, and this process gets easier. So now think about all the outcomes that you can assemble in your organization across the full surface area of Fusion applications and even beyond. I didn't talk about the interoperability and all the capabilities we can to bring in agents from other systems, bring in endpoints from other systems. So huge value. Now you can start to build on top of this system. Okay, a couple other things that we're gonna cover here. Okay, gotta make sure. All right, let's go here. So we've been delivering a consistent progression of capabilities. And what I say and what I tell everybody is, you can't just acquire this stuff. You can't just bolt on something on the outside. If you really understand how these systems work and how you have to build this from the ground up to truly automate work within a system, this is the progression that you have to take. And we've gone through every single step in this progression. And it's just amazing what we've done. So let me go through. We've delivered hundreds of AI agents. Customers are deploying them today. These are advisor agents. What I always say is these help in moments in time. So these are in the flow of work. You'll see this across all of our applications where you can ask questions, and those questions can bring in unstructured data, policy, best practice data from your enterprise. They're connected to our systems so they understand context in the application that you're in. And you can ask very, very precise questions to move work forward. This helps in points in time, maybe saves you 10, 15, 20 minutes of work value. But this was kind of the first step, and we have many, many customers that have deployed AI agents. We've given you the builder. So this is the ability to build agents, extend the agents that we have. Same with AI App Builder, build agentic applications by assembling teams of agents. So we've given you the builder tools to extend or build from scratch all of these systems, agentic applications. Workflow automations. This is truly one of the workhorses on the AI spectrum. This allows you to automate end-to-end business processes with AI as part of them, whether they're completion prompts where you're using and leveraging semantic document understanding, converting sales orders into purchase orders, those types of processes, whether you're using AI in a step for reasoning, you want to semantically understand what the meaning of something was, you can orchestrate these end-to-end, more deterministic workflows, but they always end up in a predefined end state. You're trying to solve and automate a business process, different than the automations that we were able to do in the past because we have intelligence. These LLMs can understand, they can reason, they can make decisions, and they can act. So it's different than the automations we've been able to do in the past, but it ends in a predefined path. Agentic applications are something very different. The agent teams that are brought together, they reason over the outcome that you're trying to achieve, and they make recommendations or decide what the next action should be, and it's not in a predictable pattern. They look at the state of the system, the agents work together, they collaborate, they share context, and they move work forward as it makes sense to do that. So it's not a predetermined path. So a very different agentic pattern. That's why agentic applications are such a unique value proposition in the industry, and every enterprise vendor is going to have to do something similar. They're just years away from it, and we're delivering this today. So from a customer and adoption perspective, adoption has been great, and it continues to go up every single week. So we have over 7,000 customers that have deployed AI, whether it's generative AI or AI agents or workflow agents in our systems today. We have many customers, some of them are here, that have done amazing things. Most of the agents that have been deployed have been around the advisor agents and some of the workflow agents, but work is continuing to happen. And if you're interested, please get involved in our cabs, reach out to your sales teams. We have 4 deployed engineers that are working with some of our strategic customers to help them get started. All of those services are available to jumpstart initiatives in AI. It's safe, it's easy to do, and it can add significant value in your organization. And you're not alone. Hundreds, thousands of customers that are deploying AI. We're all getting pressure to take advantage of this technology. It's a wonderful technology. We can use it responsibly and ethically and all the things that we want to do, but it can really make significant differences in your enterprise. And this is different from what I've seen a lot of organizations do. A lot of organizations deploy, there's nothing wrong with this, deploy ChatGPT or deploy Gemini and say, hey, we've delivered AI, good luck. That will get you the nickels and dimes. You're not going to be productive as you will with new capabilities like agentic applications where you truly can move work forward. They can be working for you 24/7, and you can start to automate real work in the enterprise. So I will end there. Thank you all for coming. Have a great rest of the day.